Welcome back to another edition of Lawton's Legacy. It's time to throttle up in 25. So our first edition this year in calendar year 2025 was actually the Mayor's New Year's Address, which sets the pace for the way we're going to operate in the city over this calendar year. And we encourage each of you to go to the City of Lawton's homepage and see that. I'm joined today by our city manager, John Ratliff, and we're going to do this, what is really the first edition of Lawton's Legacy. And we want to talk about throttling up and getting everything going at a very fast pace this year. And we were real excited, and I hope you saw it, the Elmer Thomas Park master plan, or the Lake Helen master plan, where we talked about the exciting things that we're going to be doing with the boardwalk and with the amphitheater. John, tell us a little bit about that and the amphitheater that holds 6,000 people and all that.
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. So like you said, we're going to start construction relatively soon on the outdoor amphitheater, and we really see this as being the crown jewel of Elmer Thomas Park. This is going to be something that we're going to use for Freedom Fest, for International Fest, for other citywide festivals, and we really feel like it's going to be a venue where citizens from all over the City of Lawton can come together and can interact and exchange ideas, have conversations, and meet at this very wonderful place. We're also going to put a boardwalk around Lake Helen that we hope and that we feel like is going to improve the recreational quality of the park. Certainly, it's going to add additional jogging and biking venues, and so we're really trying to emphasize and support these healthy living initiatives in our community. And so, and that's in addition to what we've already got going on, which is the pool, and the aquatic center has already started. And so we're well underway, and we're still looking forward to opening it and on July 4th at Freedom Fest this year. So we're really excited about all the wonderful things that are happening in Elmer Thomas.
So we're opening the aquatic center this year, and the Lake Helen plan is scheduled for Freedom Festival 2027. And I really believe, John, it's going to be a game changer and an image changer for the City of Lawton, and will become a great destination point. And you talk about all the people jogging, and while you were talking about that, because that stuff does increase, and that's all great, and a very important part of the use of our parks, especially Elmer Thomas, where we have a great trail system. And I'm also proud to know that there'll be benches for people like me to sit on and watch the people jogging. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. It really will be a great place, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a game changer. And how do we do that? Well, the only way we can do it is the citizens voted for Propel 2040, and that's the only way we can get these things accomplished, is the citizens have to vote for the funding. And they did that in a big way. And in the last 6 years, John, we've put before the citizens the two largest CIPs in history that passed them both by overwhelming margins. And Lawton has a passion for progress. One of the big initiatives that we're going to have, and probably the biggest, and they're all under this umbrella for this next year, I'm talking about besides the CIP, is we've started a Kids First initiative in our city for calendar year 2025. And while it's a developing initiative, we have three pillars that we've either announced or will be announcing in the month of February. And the first pillar was our D&D program. And this is all about cleaning up the neighborhoods for our children to thrive. Listen, children need safe and clean neighborhoods in order to thrive. And we at the City of Lawton are determined that we are going to fulfill that need. And so what we did with our D&D program was we're going to be ramping it up, and that's scheduled to start in April. And what it'll be is will be 40 D&D projects will be brought to us until less than 40 exist. And this is because that's a place, if you have dilapidated homes in a neighborhood, then you have challenges in the neighborhood like homeless, breaking and entering, fires being started, all the things that we do not want in a neighborhood where children thrive. So we'll be ramping up that D&D program. Another of the pillars, the city manager will be revealing at the next council meeting, I believe it is, and it has to do with a clean neighborhood, and it's designed around cleaning up every neighborhood, every street, and every home. John, tell us what you've got up your sleeve on that one.
I will, Mayor, but first I do want to commend you and the council, and you all have mentioned this several times on the dais, and that is the future of our community is with our children, and we really owe it to them to give them the best possible opportunity to succeed and excel. And so I'm really excited to be a part of this initiative. But really what we're going to get at, Mayor, is a systematic and programmatic way of getting after every home, every street, and every neighborhood. And we're going to try to get those to the point where not only they're complying with long existing city codes, but there are areas that we can be proud of, that we can take visitors that are from other parts of the state or other parts of the country and be proud to show off these portions of our community. So the first thing that we're going to start with is we're going to start with an education program that just really reminds everyone what the code says, what they are required to do in order to remain compliant, and we're going to give everybody an opportunity to get into compliance. And once we do that, and we give people an opportunity to get in compliance when they're not meeting the standard that our elected leaders have decided that they want to maintain, we're going to send them a notice, and we're going to give them an opportunity, 30 days, to get into compliance. And what we're going to do when we send them a notice is we're not going to just tell them, hey, you're violating the law. We're going to tell them, we're going to give them, and with a lot of specificity, what specific code provisions they're violating, and more importantly, how they get to compliance, what they need to do in order to overcome those violations. So we haven't always done a great job of that in the past, and what we're going to do is we're really going to help people get into compliance, because you've stated on many occasions, Mayor, our goal is not to tear down properties, and that is absolutely the last resort, and we want to make sure that we're exhausting all opportunities before we get to the point where we're putting properties on the D&D list, because that's the last place that we want to go. And then finally, we're going to incentivize those who do a really good job. We're going to make sure that people know about the job they're doing, that we take pictures, that we post those pictures on our website, and that we're going to come up with an awards program for the neighborhoods that can organize a community cleaning event, and that go above and beyond the standard, because we want to recognize, not just the individuals who are failing to meet the standard, but we want to celebrate those who really rise above and exceed the standard.
And John, I want to point out that we haven't created these rules. I don't recall creating any of these rules. They've been on the books for a long time. And so what I hear you saying is we're going to spend plenty of time educating, and we know that enforcement begins with education. Then once you get a warning, we're going to tell you what you need to do to get it in compliance. And then, of course, that's really the last line before real enforcement starts. But I also see a great opportunity in this for churches to get involved, for the Boy Scouts and for other groups to get involved and help cleaning up neighborhoods. Do you have any plans in that regard?
We're certainly going to reach out to our local civic organizations that help us. We know that in addition to those civic organizations that do a lot of wonderful work in our community, we have a lot of very well-intentioned and well-meaning citizens that do things on their own. Matter of fact, at the next council meeting, we'll be recognizing a couple that every Saturday morning they wake up and they go out and they pick up litter alongside of our roads. And so it's not just a municipal government response. We're going to rely on our partner organizations. We're going to make sure that we get the word out. We are going to involve them. And, we all have skin in this game, Mayor. Everybody has a role to play in ensuring that our community is one that's clean and that's healthy and one that we can be proud of. So we're going to leverage all of our partnerships, all of our relationships to make that a reality.
John, I appreciate you saying we all have a part. That reminds me of a friend of mine in his community has a button that says, "What's my part?" And it's because as a community, everybody has a part. What's my part? That's what each person needs to be asking is, what is your part in this community? Now, pillar number one was the D&Ds and getting those secured or eliminated. Number two is cleaning up every neighborhood, every street, and every home. Then the third pillar that we have so far in the Kids First initiative has to do with our Kids First Homeless Action Strategic Plan. And that will be revealed on Tuesday, but basically it boils down to this. There are two sections and there are several subsections of homeless, either the transitional homeless or the chronic homeless. And for the transitional homeless, this community is here to help you. If you have the personal responsibility and want to get back on your feet, this community is here to help you. By the way, the City of Lawton does not house people. That is not a municipal function in Oklahoma. And we're going to talk more about that and where the money comes from that the city does use on homelessness. Now, most of the money that the city spends on homelessness is on the problems associated with chronic homelessness. This is typically identified as the individuals who refuse to follow the rules of society. These are the individuals that are breaking into the vacant houses, that are starting fires in the vacant houses, lots of litter issues with these individuals. And so all of these things cost the city money. And my estimates, well over $1 million a year, are spent on this segment, answering fire calls, police calls, and neighborhood service calls. So basically what we're going to be is we're having no tolerance policy. We've learned that there are 32 individuals that are sex offenders that list their address as homeless. So it's easy to lose track of these individuals, and we're going to up the game, and the City of Lawton will not be a sanctuary for individuals that refuse to follow the rules of society. So the Kids First initiative continues to develop. We continue to put out more and more details, and it's all about our vision, a community of choice where families thrive. And you can't be a community of choice where families thrive if you don't have safe and clean neighborhoods where kids thrive. So John, I want to talk a little bit about the road maintenance plan because we are transforming the city from where we were before you and I got here, and our roads in terrible shape. And we're making great progress. We've done 40 roads in 1 year, John. That's unbelievable. But I challenged the Streets and Bridges to come up with 100 projects in 25, and they didn't think that rhymed. So they changed it to 105 in 25. And so we're going to have 105 street projects in 25. And even if we run a little over, we'll get a lot of streets done. This is truly transforming our city. And so you guys have developed a road maintenance program that we're going to bring into policy. Tell us a little bit about that and why it's important that we put that into policy.
Absolutely, Mayor. So, and I don't want to belabor this point, but I think it bears mentioning, is that for many years, road maintenance in the City of Lawton it was an afterthought. It was neglected, it wasn't financed, it wasn't resourced, and as a result, we have a decaying infrastructure that we're definitely behind the power curve on, and trying to rehab different road sections and segments in the city. And so we're making an effort to get all of those road sections up to the point where they're passable, and you don't get a flat tire when you drive on them. And one of the specific segments that we're really proud to be working on, and we're going to start work on very soon, is on 38th Street from Lee to Gore. The RFP will go out at the next council meeting, and we anticipate work beginning in April. And that road segment, that mile stretch there, has been a problem in the City of Lawton for a long time. So we're really excited to get after that and to get that road up to the point where it's no longer a hindrance and it's easy to travel. So specifically with the road maintenance program, we felt like going forward, because that's what we're all about, we're about moving the community forward, we needed a policy in place that we never venture back to this point that we're at now. And so we needed some very specific plan in place to give future councils and future city administrations a roadmap, no pun intended, so that we will not fall back into this position where we have this decaying infrastructure that's holding our community back, socially, economically, educationally, and we don't want to be saddled with that burden any longer. And so we felt that it was very important that the Streets and Roads Committee approve this maintenance policy, this pavement improvement policy, that council as a whole consider it, and that we put it in place so that we have a guide going forward to help us not fall back into into the bad habits of the past.
You know, John, once this is passed, and I feel sure the council will pass it, this will be the most advanced road maintenance program and a policy in the state of Oklahoma, so I'm really excited about that. By the way, let me tell you how we've transformed this just a little bit. Just 2 years ago, I think it was, our street budget for materials was $1.5 million. Today it's $10 million. And so not only have we put more money into it in our budget, that's significant. By the way, paid for totally with improved efficiency in the city. That extra money came from improved efficiency in the city. But then the citizens voted to spend $0.25 dedicated on roads, streets and roads. So you take those funding sources and we will be able to continue this in perpetuity. So it's a pretty exciting thing for Lawton Fort Sill and our streets. All right, so we have a lot of cultural things that happen in our city. We're a very multicultural community. And I'm very proud of that and very proud of the culture that we have here. In February, of course, is Black History Month. And so we have a lot of neat things going on. John, what can you tell us about Black History Month and events?
Well, Mayor, just last Saturday we had the proclamation signing over at the Albert Johnson Senior Conference Center. I thought that went extremely well, and there were a lot of great speeches at that event. One that stood out to me were the comments that Dr. DeLoach made, and Dr. DeLoach talked about the importance of communities coming together for no less for the purpose of raising good children. And I think that that dovetails very well with our Kids First initiative. I couldn't agree more. It takes a village to raise a child. That old expression, I think, is spot on. So anyway, getting back to Black History Month, we have events, discussion panels coming up on the 20th and the 21st. Those are also going to be at the Albert Johnson Senior Conference Center. We're looking forward to those events, and we're looking forward to celebrating our very diverse cultural tradition, that we have here in Lawton, because it's diversity in this community is not a buzzword. It's not something that we do once a year. It's something that we do every day, and it's something that makes our community stronger.
Okay, so as we wrap it up, I want to encourage you to go to the city's webpage where you'll find the Mayor's New Year's address, and that's important because you'll understand what's driving us forward here in the City of Lawton and the pace at which we're going to throttle up in 25. You'll also, I'm going to encourage you to go to the Propel page, and you can scroll through that homepage and see the Propel information there and go and look at all the projects that are involved with Propel. Now let's talk about the council meeting that's coming up on February 11th. We'll have 2 of our pillars where you'll get more detail about our Kids First initiative and how we're building safe and clean neighborhoods for our children to thrive. Now, let me tell you, this is an exciting time, John, to be in Lawton, Fort Sill, and it's time to throttle up in 25.